Hey guys, this is Steli Efti with Close.io. A lot of people ask me what are the right type of questions to ask salespeople when you interview them. And others ask me, as a startup in general, what am I, as a co founder and CEO, what are the top questions that I ask candidates when I interview them? Philosophically, I want to share that I'm not a huge fan of the interview in order to determine if somebody's a great fit or not, or how somebody's going to perform later on in their job. I just think that a lot of people are great and have kind of hacked and mastered how to present themselves and sell themselves in an interview really well. But that unfortunately doesn't always or rarely translate into if they perform well on a day to day and under the pressures and changes and challenges of a startup environment. With sales, it's even more dramatic because it's like, think about it like that. Imagine you being a coach of a top basketball team and you're sitting there to interview players in order to determine if they would be good players and superstars in your team. What kind of questions would you ask a person sitting there in a comfortable chair about their basketball playing experience and their basketball playing, philosophy and thoughts? And it's silly to a certain degree. You would just throw a person a ball and have them go play. You would go and watch them during games, and then you would analyze their results over time. And yes, you might go on a walk with them or sit down with them and interview them and try to understand them a little bit better, what motivates them, what drives them, who they are as a personality, their cultural fit to your organization. But that's not how you're going to determine if they're good on the field and if they're good at the game. And it's the same thing with sales. If you want to know if somebody's good at sales, throw them the ball and have them play. Give them the phone and have them make a cold call. Give them the stage and have them do a pitch in front of the entire team. Let them demonstrate their abilities to sell. Don't have them verbalize or intellectualize their thoughts about selling or themselves or their performance. So, having said all that, if you absolutely must ask questions, I don't know which ones are the right ones for you, but I can tell you that I have a simple rule and it always works, which is asking the 3 whys to get to the real answer. So here's something that I've experienced hiring lots and lots of people over many, many businesses. One thing that I've noticed is that a lot of times people give you very superficial answers. Some do because they haven't deeply thought about the answer before or what really drives them in that certain area. And some do because they want to mislead or they want to present themselves in a perfect way. Doesn't matter what it is. If you follow up with 3 whys, you typically hit gold. I'll give an example. You ask somebody, this is a question that's important to me, is trying to understand what somebody wants and then trying to understand why they want that, what really truly drives them. So I'll ask someone, hey, in a perfect world, if everything goes brilliant in the next 5 years, where are you at? What do you do? What have you accomplished? How does your life look like? What are your aspirations, your ambitions? What's your goal for the next few years? They might answer something like, oh, I really want to become an entrepreneur, in the next 5 years. I first want to work with startups to learn and grow and blah, 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 and gain some experience. But long term, I want to be an entrepreneur. Cool, awesome. It's not a bad answer to give to a startup founder, right? So when somebody tells me that, I go, cool. Why is that? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Usually what I get next is also pretty superficial. They go, well, I don't know, good question. I just like to build things and I want to make a change and a difference in the world. And I really love, the startup environment, the fast pace. So I think entrepreneurship is really awesome for me. Cool. Why do you think that is? What do you mean? Well, why do you think you love building things and seeing things grow? Why do you care about an environment that stimulates growth? Now, typically at the second why, you start to see the wheels turning and the candidate thinking, oh shit, I'm not going to get away with just like some bullshit answer here. And typically they'll start computing the answer in real time. They'll go, well, I don't know. And now there's a couple of ways the conversation can go. Either they'll start exploring that question in their own mind. They'll just share their exploration with you. You can follow them on their path to something that makes sense. Or they might want to get the easy way out, which is telling you, well, I don't really know. I have to think about it. It's a great question. At that point, here's what you reply with. Take a guess. If you had to guess an answer, what will be your first guess? Don't let them get away with it, people. Don't let them get away with it. You really want to push to get deep and truly understand what drives somebody or what the true answer is. My experience has been that after 3 whys, you typically hit gold. You get a real, honest, truthful answer. And an answer that provides insight. Not, I like challenging environments. That's bullshit, right? Anyone knows coming to a startup that that's something good to say. Why do you like challenging environments? Well, because I love to grow. Cool. Why? Why is growth important to you? Well, I don't know. It's just, I always felt like I'm called for more, and I always felt like I owe it to the world to live up to my full potential. And why is that important to you? Why is it important to live up to your full potential? And how and when did you get that feeling that you're called for greatness? I don't know, man. It's just, I think my school teachers told me early on that I will never amount to anything. And, my parents divorced when I was a small child, and I just always felt like a failure, like the world is against me. So at some point I got angry and I promised myself that I would show the world what I'm really capable of. Now you hit gold. That's some real shit. That's some honest, truthful shit. And that's something that gives you a real insight into what drives that person, what motivates that person. And that might be useful to the way you want to select who you want to work with and how you're going to motivate them and how you're going to communicate with them. Now, why do you want to work here or where do you want to be in 5 years, that might not be the question you want to ask. But whatever you want to ask, I would follow up with 3 whys until you hit gold, until you get something that's real, that's honest, that's raw, because that's going to provide you insights. And insights are really what you're looking for to making a determination and a decision if you want to hire somebody or not, if they're a good fit for your team or not. All right, so having said all that, the last tip I want to give you on hiring and job interview questions is empower people to demonstrate as quickly as possible if they're really skilled or not. So for salespeople, have them make cold calls in front of you. Put them in a really challenging, high pressure, uncomfortable environment and see how they act and react to it. And then understand that you will make mistakes. So the art of becoming great at hiring is not having the perfect questions so you always spot the right people. But the art of hiring, becoming great at it, is realizing that you are going to make mistakes and being honest to yourself and to that person and reacting quick enough to correct those mistakes. So if you hire someone and after 2 or 3 weeks you get a sense that it may not have been a perfect hire or there might be things about that candidate that make you have second thoughts, you don't push that away because it's uncomfortable, but you act immediately, you address it, and you let that person go and support them and help them find a place that's better for them. But you need to live with the fact that you are going to make mistakes. And I think Gary Vee said that it's not about being great at hiring, it's about being great at firing if you want to build a massive and amazing organization and culture. And I couldn't agree more. The firing part is much more challenging than the hiring part. I hope this was helpful. If you want to know more, one-on-one feedback, if you want to jump on a sales office hour or just talk founder to founder, just ping me at Stelly@Close.io. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever that link is. And make sure to visit blog.close.io and check out our blog posts. We blog 2-3 times a week. We might do even more so this year. So would love to see you in the comments. Would love to see you in social media and in my inbox. Say hi and share your thoughts and feedback around hiring, firing, growing a sales team, and growing a business. All right, take care. Bye-bye.